Hello students, I am Kavita Taneja from Punjab University, Department of Computer Science and Applications, Chandigarh. And today we are going to take up a topic software, software engineering and programming paradigms. Now, in your undergraduation, this is a very important topic to begin with your introduction toward developing software or other programming contents. Now, let us start with understanding what is a program. So, whenever we are developing a code or we are developing some program in a sense, it is for some specific purpose. For example, I want to write a program in C language and it is going to add two given numbers. So, that is a simple example of a program. Generally, as a student, when we approach into software labs and we try and solve some elementary problems using simple code, we call that file as our program file. It could be a C program or any other language, programming language that is there in your syllabus, and you are trying to solve some basic problems using that particular language. So if we can just define program as executable code which serves some computational purpose. So computer program, it is a collection of instructions. It can be executed by a computer to perform a specific task. It could be as simple as, suppose we want to find out whether a given entered number is odd or even, right? So to solve this particular problem, we will write some instructions in some programming language, and that collection of instructions, which is performing this specific task of identifying input variable as odd or even, is coined as computer program. And of course, it is usually written in some programming language like C, C++, Java, and it is written by you, like you would be called a computer programmer if you are using a programming language to write such set of instructions which is going to execute and solve a specific problem. Now here on the slide, as you can see, this is a simple sample program. This is how a program looks like, and it is written in C language. It's a simple program where we're trying to find area of a circle whose radius is given. So there are some instructions written in green color, and then there are some instructions later on. After these instructions are executed, you will get the area of the circle whose radius is entered by the user. For example, in this particular slide, you can see that radius of 7 centimeter is given, and we have to compute area of circle, which comes out to be 153.86 centimeter square. So this is a simple look of a program. Now, as we can see that what how we differ this program from software. See, as a student, we have encountered both in labs when we are trying to we are trying to type some set of instruction in a particular syntax of a particular programming language, we call it a program. And as soon as we open the system, we try to switch on the system, there is a screen that comes which is asking for our username and password. Now this interface that we are receiving as soon as we are putting our device on, what is this screen? What is the concept behind this screen? How this screen is communicating with us, asking us to fill our username and password. This is nothing else but the interface of the operating system. We have heard of this word operating system many a times, and without getting into the technicalities, I would just say we have heard of Windows, we have heard of Windows in our computers, we have heard of Android operating system for our mobile devices. Everyone is having smart mobile devices these days, and most of us understand that the mobile device works with the Android or iOS. So there is another concept, another word comes into our mind, that is software. Again, there are certain things common between the program and the software, and the common thing is that both include set of instructions and both are written in some computer programming language. And one and very important similarity is that both are sufficing to some common objective. They are solving some particular problem. But there is a difference when we say that we are talking about software. Software is more than just a code. It is considered to be collection of executable programming code, associated libraries, and documentations also. So software, when made for a specific requirement, is called software product. So as we can have this feel, we can compare this to the previous slide of program definition slide, where we have some striking similarities also. Okay, but here we can understand very well that when we are talking about software, software is something more than just a program code. Okay, so it is beyond program, it is larger than a program. Okay, and it is collection of executable programming code, not only the code but also the documentations, because as the set of instructions, see, when we had an example of that we were trying to find the area of a circle. So even if I don't write this line that this particular 5 instructions are going to help me find the area of a circle, you can very well make it from that r is radius something you are giving as input, and then you can see that there was this computation line which was storing pi into r into another variable which was area. So you can make the sense that okay, this particular set of instructions are trying to find the area of the circle whose radius is this. But when we talk about software, documentation is very crucial element, because number one, software is very large in size, and not only the size is large but dimensions are also more, because now it's a collection of various executable programming codes with their associated libraries. So documentation is an integral element when we are talking about software. Okay, so next thing in this is a sample software slide. You can see how many of you can identify with at least 5 of the symbols that are there on the slide. I'll give you few seconds to just see, go through the symbols and just try and relate that yes, this is something that I know something about this particular icon. Okay, you can see a big orange icon in the bottom right side. It's a VLC player, media player for playing videos. Mostly it is used. You can see the icon of those who are online game playing people. You can see there is an icon of various popular online games, like we have Counter Strike, PUBG. You can see there is an icon of Windows, there is an icon of WhatsApp, there is an icon of YouTube, other gaming software. So very very normally we say this, that we are trying to, normally we'll go and say we are trying to buy a CD of a gaming software, or there is this software which is called operating system, or there is this MS Office. It is a software which has various components. It helps us to, processing Word, then doing all the calculations, and of course preparing these presentations. So when we talk about these software, again they are trying to help us solve some particular problem. I want to play a video, I need a VLC media player. I want to play a game, I want to download this particular software in my mobile or laptop. So I want to chat, so I need to have WhatsApp. We call it app or application in short when we are talking mostly of mobile softwares, because again software are of two types. When we are talking about something like operating system, we call it a system software, and when we are talking of something less complicated and more specific in operation, we call it application software. Like WhatsApp is a chatting application software, and then we have various gaming software. So normally we have used this word software along with these uh, stuff, these kind of software or programs in a larger sense, which have helped us uh, solve some particular problem or a larger problem. Like if I want to communicate with the hardware of my computer, I cannot go and talk to mouse, I cannot go and talk to the keyboard. So what can I do? I need to have an interface. And what is that interface between the hardware and me as a user? It is the operating system software. Okay, so software and program. So one, question can come in your exam also, that you have to differentiate between program and software. So we will try and recollect. A computer program, it's a collection of instructions that perform a specific task when executed by a computer. Example was finding the area of a circle with a given radius. On the other hand, a software, it is a set of instructions, data or programs. They are used to operate computers and execute specific tasks. It includes programs such as applications and the operating system. And you can add one more thing, that there are two types of software, the system software and the application software. Now let us try to summarize what we have studied so far in a tabular format, and try to learn these things while you are going through the slide. Try to figure out that, okay, I have to differentiate between these two things in 8 features. So first feature is of course the user. Normally program itself, but software is used by range of people, so it's made for others. Number of users, if we talk about program, it's normally if I'm writing a program in my computer lab, then it's meant for me and my teacher, okay, or my few friends. But if you're talking about software, if I'm talking about a gaming software, it is meant for thousands and millions of people. Now size, of course, program is small as compared to software. We have been pinning this thing, that software is larger in size. Functionality, of course, if you're talking about a small set of instructions, they have limited functionalities. We're talking about large software. So you can write a simple program also. You need not devise a Android game app and then you have to upload that game in a Google Play Store. You can make a simple, limited instruction program also, which can do a limited function of a game. You can prepare a game in C later on when you will do C with data structure. You can easily prepare a small element of game that you have to identify. Maybe it could be a small game, like you have to identify the input words. If you can jumble and rejumble them and make some sensible words out of it, it's a small game, you can prepare it. So that would be a program, because its functionality is limited. On the other hand, if we have software like we have Spellbee and Spellex, these are popular software which are available in Google Play Store, and they help for practicing the English spellings. So that's one major difference between program and software. Interface, of course, it's minimum. In program, if you don't document it well, because the sizes is functionality is limited, so documentation अगर कम भी करेंगे then it will work out. But if it is a software, you have to be very elaborate on the documentation part. उसका reason main ये है because people who are going to use is not only yourself, they are other, you are selling your product to other people and they should understand. And of course, the people who are using, they may be of diverse background. So you cannot go, how many have got training in any of the gaming software? You just learn it by that only. We have seen that many people who are older also, they are effectively using WhatsApp. Nobody has trained them. So how they are doing it? They are doing it because the interface is so easy to understand. It's so well documented that you can easily understand and use the software. Then cost, of course, program cost is very low. You only need your compiler, you need your computer, and you just do it. But if you talk about software, then software is expensive. If you want to go for MS Office only, you want to get the license for a year, it's pretty costly affair. And then of course testing part, if you are talking about program testing, a little amount of testing will work, but if you're talking about software, then it has to be very exhaustive testing. So now if we come to another popular question is that what could be the characteristic of a good software. Now we'll shift our concentration toward the term software. So of course there are three main aspects on the basis of which you can pen these down: operational, transitional and maintenance. Okay, so these are the three aspects on the basis of which we are going to declare whether a particular software is a good software or not. So as the name is suggesting, the operational aspect means that the software work well. It can be measured on budget, should be economical, should be usable. Whatever function we are giving, it should give correct answer efficiently. Functionality, dependability, it should be secure and it should be safe to use. If we go to transitional aspect, it is important when the software is moved from one platform to another platform. So it should be portable, okay, it should be interoperability should be there, it should be reusable and adaptive in nature. And if we talk about maintenance aspect, so how well a software has the capability to maintain itself in an ever changing environment. So the elements are modularity. These are the qualities which we expect from a good software: maintainability, flexibility, and scalability. Now the next important term is software engineering, and you will find this paper in your UG and PG courses as well. And the term is called software engineering. Now, in layman language, I would say it's an engineering branch of computer science. Okay, so software engineering, as the name suggests, it has to use some well-defined engineering concepts, and it is required to produce efficient, scalable, in budget, on time. Now these two words I would like you to keep in mind for our upcoming next presentation, which is on software prices. So these two words are very important, that cost and the time. Okay, so we need to produce such. अभी हमने पहले भी किया कि what are the various characteristics of a good software. So उसको ही summarize करके we have just identified some words, keywords like efficient, durable, scalable, in budget and on time. So we want these products. So developing these products need an engineering background. So software engineering, it's an engineering branch associated with development of software product using well-defined scientific principles. So you have to have some methods and procedures. And the interesting thing is that it is for sure that the outcome of software engineering, it's an efficient and reliable software product. So an engineering discipline that provides knowledge, tools and methods. For now there are various you can say elements of developing a software. First is you have to define the software requirement. So Next is you have to perform software design. Then comes the actual coding part. We call it software construction. After coding, we need to test, software testing. Then we have software maintenance. And in the end, we have software project management. So all the activities that are involved in producing the software. Now this particular engineering discipline provide the knowledge, tools and methods for such activities. Now we will say what is the need of software engineering. Now need of software engineering is because higher rate of changes in user requirement and the environment in which we are going to deliver the software. Because we have already talked about this thing that we need to develop scalable, durable, and we want to develop efficient large softwares in time and within our budget. So to satisfy all these characteristics of good software, we need to have some formalized methodologies and methods and tools through which we design it and develop it. So first is the need is that we need it because we are building large software. Okay, so we all know this thing. It's easy to build a wall than to build a building. So you can build a wall without, without consulting an architect. But you cannot build a multi-story hotel or something like that, a big building or a bridge without consulting an architect. You need to have a proper planning and proper methodology and tools. You need to incorporate all those things. So that is the same. If you are talking about a bigger software product which has to satisfy all the properties of a good software, so you need to have some scientific process behind such development. So there comes the need of software engineering. Another important thing is the scalability. So if the software process were not based on scientific and engineering concept, so it would be easier to recreate new software than to scale an existing one. Cost. So hardware industry has shown its skills and huge manufacturing has lowered down the price of computer and electronic hardware. We all know this. But the cost of software remains high if proper process is not adapted. So a proper process, again highlighted, is needed and where software engineering comes handy. Then we have dynamic nature. So we have the always growing and adapting nature of software hugely depends upon the environment in which the user is working. If the nature of software is always changing, so new upgradations are needed now and then. And here software engineering will play the role. Then we have quality management. So better process of software development provides better and quality software products. So IEEE definition you should actually follow if a definition comes in your exam. The application of a systematic, number one, discipline, quantifiable approach to the development, operation and maintenance of software. That is the application of engineering to software design and programming. So that was about software and the engineering behind developing a software. Now we have talked about these things that yes, there should be a methodology, there should be standard tools, techniques for doing various activities that are involved in developing a software. So now the last topic for this particular lecture is programming paradigms. Now this paradigm is closely related to programming aspect of software development. In software development, we have seen various aspects. We have seen that you have to collect requirements. Now one thing could be very simple. You just go to your target audience and you can just find out that what are their requirements just by asking simple questions, verbal. Second way would be that you can document those in the form of, and you can ask six type of questions and you can prepare a questionnaire, get it in filled by all your audience. Time to time you take feedback and you make an analysis report of that questionnaire. Now this is more formalized way of collecting requirements. After collecting requirements, there is this analysis part and then there is the design part, then comes the construction of the software. So when we talk about programming paradigms, these are basically focusing on the construction onward part of software development and what are the various methodologies or standard techniques that are being used for particularly coding, testing and integration of a software. Just as software engineering is defined by various methodologies, so the programming languages are also defined by differing paradigms. Now there are some languages that are supporting one type of philosophy. For example, we have C++, we have Smalltalk. What they all support? They support object-oriented programming. Okay. Then we have Haskell, again a language. It supports functional programming. So there are other programming languages which support multiple paradigms like C++, Java, not only object oriented but they also support other types of paradigms. Smalltalk support specifically object oriented only. So popular languages, they will support multiple paradigms. For example, programs written in C, C++ or PHP, they can be purely procedural, they can be purely object oriented, or they can contain elements of both or maybe some other philosophy or paradigm. Software designer has to choose. If you are writing a simple C program, we know it is procedural in nature. There would be a procedure. I'll go back to the first slide. Just recall that there was this procedure in which we were taking the input in the form of radius and we had some computation statement where we are multiplying radius again by radius and then with a constant pi and we are getting area. Then we are printing it. So this is procedural method or philosophy or paradigm of programming. Or you may define some classes and objects, that would be object oriented paradigm. So software designer and the programmers decide how to use these paradigm elements. So with this we conclude this slide. In the end, I would like to suggest that there are few questions which are important from your evaluation point of view. So first question would be that what is the difference between the program and the software? So in your compulsory section, there are small objective questions also where you can be asked to list popular software. So if you recall the slide in which we have had icons of various popular software. So from there you should pen down 8 to 10 software. Then we had the concept of software engineering. Software engineering, as it is the name of the paper also that you will be studying in your undergraduation and post-graduation as well. It is very important to have a formal definition of software engineering. It can come as your compulsory element also, or you may be asked to elaborate on software engineering. Then ultimately we are resorting to this engineering aspect of developing software. Why? Because there are some expectations from the software. So another popular question could be that what are the characteristics? You have to list the characteristics of a good software, right? So it could be a short note, it could be a big question also, where you have to explain the need of software engineering. Why do you need an engineering aspect to developing software? So what are the major aspects and what are the major characteristics of a good software? And in the end, the topic that we have covered are the various programming paradigms which are available for developing the software. So with this, we come to the end of this particular slide. In the next slide, we will be continuing with the topic of software crisis. And one thing I would like to suggest here is that, as the name is suggesting, there is some problem, right? Crisis is some problem situation. So there is some problem in the software, and what would be the ultimate solution? Whenever we have a chaos, what we need? We need some standard scientific approach to solve that chaos. And that standard scientific approach, which is full of some procedures and methodologies, some tools and techniques, is nothing else but software engineering. So in the upcoming slide, we will be discussing the topic software crisis and how software engineering come as a savior to get out of the software crisis situation. With this, thanks again, students. Happy studying.